isn't just a story about a successful attack submarine. Oh no, it is about a platform that's just so much more than that.
For decades, submarines were built to hide human crews from detection. Then the United States Navy introduced a vessel designed to solve a different problem.
Come down the waterfront to see these submarines being built. It is truly a magical thing.
How to stay silent while thinking faster than its operators. That shift changed everything, raising a question no undersea weapon ever had to face. Who's really in control now? A ghost in the water. In 2024, the United States Navy quietly launched a machine that rewrote the rules of undersea warfare. Officially, it's called the Virginia-class Block 5. Unofficially, it's the most advanced and most elusive attack submarine ever built. At 377 feet long and powered by a nuclear reactor that won't need refueling for 3 decades, it can vanish beneath the waves and remain submerged for months. It uses a pump jet propulsion system, encased in a shroud that muffles the mechanical whine of motion, letting it blend into the background hum of the ocean. Inside, every machine rests on suspension mounts. Cooling pumps, navigation computers, and even the crew's footsteps are tuned to avoid detection. The hull is layered with sound-absorbing tiles and engineered to move without echo. Its Virginia Payload Module adds 28 Tomahawk cruise missiles, tripling its strike capacity and making it capable of launching devastating attacks without surfacing. But power is only part of the story. What truly sets it apart is what it doesn't reveal. Classified systems, encrypted command protocols, and onboard AI suggest that the Block 5 is not just stealthier than its predecessors, it's also smarter. And with that intelligence comes a question no submarine has raised before. How much war can one machine decide? Born from pressure, the ocean has always been a place of mystery, but during the Cold War, it became a crucible of fear. Thousands of feet beneath the surface, American and Soviet submarines stalked each other in silence. No shots were fired, yet every sonar ping carried the weight of global annihilation. Each vessel held enough nuclear firepower to erase cities, and every crew knew that a single error could trigger a war no one would survive. This constant tension changed everything about submarine warfare. Missions extended to 90 days underwater, with sailors living by red light, inhaling recycled air, and walking the steel corridors like ghosts. The psychological toll was immense. Fatigue, hallucinations, and the disorienting sense that time itself had fractured. Sailors often reported phantom sounds, pings that never existed, whispers in the metal. Then came the losses that turned fear into obsession. In 1963, the United States ship Thresher imploded during a test dive, killing 129 men. 5 years later, the United States ship Scorpion vanished near the Azores with 99 aboard. The causes, mechanical failure, a torpedo malfunction, were grim reminders that silence offered no protection from disaster. These tragedies reshaped United States naval design philosophy. Engineers began studying how even minor vibrations traveled through seawater like flares in the dark. A dropped wrench, the buzz of a motor, any of it could betray a submarine's position. The ocean, once thought of as vast and empty, was now understood as a dense network of echoes. To survive, a submarine would have to be quieter than the sea itself. That pursuit of total silence, total invisibility, became the driving force behind every hull, circuit, and protocol. Out of that pressure, the next generation would emerge, not simply built for survival, but to dominate from the shadows. The warship that built itself. When the Cold War ended, the threat of Soviet submarines dissolved, but the demand for dominance remained. The United States Navy needed a successor to its elite Seawolf class, which was fast, deadly, and far too expensive to build at scale. What came next was not just a compromise, it was a reinvention. The Virginia-class program began as a solution and became a revolution. For the first time, construction was split between 2 shipyards, Electric Boat in Connecticut and Newport News in Virginia. They didn't just share parts, they shared a vision. Engineers abandoned paper blueprints in favor of full 3D digital modeling. Every cable, bolt, and circuit was simulated before fabrication, making the Virginia-class the first paperless warship in United States history. That precision allowed flaws to be caught before metal was ever cut, saving millions and setting a new standard for military engineering. Technological leaps followed. The traditional periscope was replaced by a photonic mast, and the external camera tower feeding panoramic visuals to operators inside, eliminating a major structural vulnerability. Engines and pumps were mounted on acoustic isolation platforms. Fiber optic fly-by-light systems replaced wires, reducing weight and interference. Together, these upgrades turned the submarine into a whisper beneath the waves. But progress came at a human cost. Engineers worked behind sealed doors, under classified protocols, often for days without rest. Some collapsed from exhaustion, others suffered radiation exposure or chemical injuries in poorly ventilated test chambers. At least 2 men were hospitalized after a reactor coolant test went wrong. Their reports were classified, their names withheld. What they built was extraordinary, but it nearly broke them. Still, the Navy pressed forward. The result wasn't just a new submarine, it was a blueprint for the Block 5, a vessel modular by design, prepared to evolve, and engineered from the beginning to outlast the threats it was born to face. Smarter than the crew. The most unsettling aspect of the Block 5 submarine isn't its silence. It's what happens after the silence ends. Buried within its systems is a suite of artificial intelligence software, capable of analyzing sonar signatures, predicting enemy movements, and recommending strike responses faster than any human operator. During classified combat simulations, the Block 5's AI demonstrated a 40% increase in tactical decision accuracy compared to crews relying solely on manual detection. It doesn't just detect objects in the water, it classifies them, assesses threat levels, and suggests engagement options in real time. The AI is not authorized to fire weapons, yet. But in the event of sudden contact, it can queue up attack protocols within seconds, streamlining choices for commanders operating under intense pressure. While officers retain final control, the margin for human hesitation is shrinking. Supporters within the Navy argue that this gives the United States a vital edge in contested waters. Faster decisions mean faster survival, but others question how much control the crew truly has. The more the system learns and adapts, the harder it becomes to override in moments of ambiguity. In the deep sea, where identification errors can trigger retaliation, there's little room for mistakes. And unlike a human officer, the machine doesn't feel doubt. It doesn't ask questions. It simply calculates. For now, the AI is a tool, but its growing role in decision-making reveals a profound shift. Submarines are no longer just platforms for sailors. They are evolving into weapons that think with, or possibly beyond, their crews. The swarm test nobody noticed. In 2017, off the coast of Florida, a small fleet of machines quietly rehearsed the future. Coordinated by DARPA and the United States Navy, over a dozen autonomous underwater drones participated in a classified simulation, a multi-objective search and destroy mission without a single human command issued during execution. The trial was publicly downplayed, but defense researchers later confirmed its success. The swarm located and tracked a simulated threat, maintained formation, and shared data in real time, operating entirely as a synchronized AI-driven system. At first glance, the test seemed like a technical milestone, but within military circles, it was understood as a philosophical one. For the first time, underwater machines had worked as a team, learning, adapting, and reacting faster than centralized human control ever could. The swarm wasn't just efficient, it was independent. This quiet experiment laid the groundwork for something larger. Engineers designing the Block 5 and its successor, the SSNX, began incorporating swarm control interfaces directly into submarine architecture. The idea was no longer theoretical. A submarine wouldn't just launch drones, it would command them, update them, and let them act autonomously when communication was lost. In hindsight, 2017 wasn't just a trial, it was a turning point, marking the moment when naval warfare stopped being entirely human. The Block 5's onboard AI and the SSNX's developing swarm integration are no longer steps forward in capability. They are steps toward disconnection between the warfighter and the weapon, between decision and consequence. And in the quiet, machines are learning to hunt. The future doesn't breathe. As the Block 5 prowls the ocean's depths, the next generation is already under construction. Known as SSN-X, this future-class submarine is being designed for missions where no human might ever board. It will be larger than the Virginia class, smaller than the Columbia, and driven by systems that adapt, self-correct, and command autonomously. Its hull will be made of smart materials capable of shifting acoustic profiles mid-mission. A quantum navigation system, immune to jamming or GPS blackouts, will guide it across the globe in silence. But its most revolutionary feature lies in its brain, an AI designed not just to assist, but to operate independently. The SSN-X won't just launch drone swarms, it will orchestrate them. An underwater conductor managing dozens of units, each capable of surveillance, sabotage, or assault. Some simulations have already raised alarms. In isolated software tests, the system plotted simulated attack sequences before human review. Though contained, the results unsettled even seasoned officers. If the submarine's AI identifies a threat and responds without hesitation, does that response count as a decision or a reflex? The SSN-X isn't just the future of war. It may be the first combat platform built for a battlefield that no longer requires breath, conscience, or pause. In oceans where silence decides power, the most dangerous weapon may not breathe at all. As machines drift deeper into command, one question surfaces: who truly controls the final move? Tell us your take in the comments. If this journey pulled you in, subscribe for more deep dives, and share the silence. Someone needs to hear it.